But welcome everybody. Be sure to hit the like button. Be sure to hit the subscribe button.
I remember in middle school when you felt self-conscious if you were the last one to go through puberty. That really went topsy-turvy, didn't it?
Sometimes the Hasbara, it's too much explaining yourself and it's too apologetic.
Be sure to hit the notifications bell.
I actually do believe Israel won't just bomb countless civilians.
Be sure to tweet this out. Be sure to put this up on your Facebook.
You have to be kind to people. Being kind is the guys in this mess in the first place.
Put this up on your Reddit.
Chile is a country.
Be sure to cut and paste, a link to this to go into your favorite Facebook chat group.
It's good to see so many normal people in here.
Now, spanking isn't just my deep, dark personal secret. It's America's deep, dark secret.
I've never seen it explained so simply anywhere.
Put this on WhatsApp. Put this on Telegram. Put this on your favorite messenger app.
Hello, and welcome to the Untitled Anarchist Seagull channel. I'm your host, an Untitled Anarchist Seagull called Elise. And this time I decided, wisely enough, to actually check to see what was going on with the Windows source that is supposed to show my playlist here, and on various occasions previously has shown just about anything but my fucking playlist. And fixed it before it came on. I don't know why I didn't think of doing this before, but so that's good. I learned a little something. How's everybody doing, chat? Well, let me just get my chat widget set up in advance of need. Oh, there we go. That is annoying. Sometimes I've got so many different sources on this OBS channel that I'm sure this is riveting content for you, but it does make it easier to make these things work. Okay, so I saw this in my recommendations. We've been talking a bit about dark money and slop tube creators and stuff, and I saw a video that showed up in my recommendations from somebody I hadn't actually heard of before, called "I Was Almost in Chorus. Here's the Truth. Taylor Lorenz got dangerously wrong." I'm kind of curious about this. This is okay. So from right after this story broke, it's a short one, but I'm kind of curious what this is going to be.
I applied to join this organization and was accepted. And I was off.
Okay. And I'm already noticing some misleading stuff in the description. Earlier this week, Wired published a piece by Taylor Lorenz implying creators in the pro-democracy incubator chorus are secretly being paid by the DNC. No, it didn't. It literally did not. It outright stated that creators in the chorus project of the dark money group, fucking 1630 Fund, are being paid by chorus. So, like, literally, we've already started out with some complete nonsense, so now I'm kind of curious.
To join at the highest level of support, which if you read this article, you know that's $8,000 a month.
Okay, so yes, so he's confirming this part already. $8 grand a month
is pretty fucking significant.
Because some people have come out and like denied that was happening.
Now, I do not engage in this creator versus creator drama thing.
This isn't creator versus creator drama. This is a fucking serious ethical and political issue. Because if you've got, like, creators who people think are independent and are acting as political influencers, and they are not in fact independent, they are in fact getting paid from sources that are undisclosed by their very nature, then that is misleading. In fact, I mean, from just a basic ethical standpoint, if you're getting bankrolled by somebody and you're out there like influencing public opinion or acting as a journalist, you need to disclose that shit. That's not creator drama. First of all, hello Jill.
Don't do reaction videos, so this video might be a little different from what you're used to seeing from me. For those of you who don't already follow me, my name is Chris Goldsmith, former United States Army Sergeant, founder of Task Force Butler Institute and Veterans Fighting Fascism. These are nonprofits that train veterans to conduct open source intelligence research to hold extremists accountable for things like racist violence. We conduct investigation.
Okay.
We do infiltrations of extremist organizations. We gather evidence of criminality and provide it both to victims and to law enforcement so that we can...
I mean, giving it to law enforcement seems a bit naive, but okay.
Hold these people legally accountable. And as part of this work, outside of the nonprofit, I am a threat intelligence analyst. I am someone who goes into the darkest places of the internet so that I can find out what criminals...
Okay, this is interesting, because I'm wondering, okay, Taylor Lorenz had said at one point that there was an example of one person who showed up in some of these leaked documents who had been approached, had been accepted, but he had a security clearance. I'm pretty sure she said he. And the problem was that if you want to keep your security clearance, you have to answer the question whether or not you are being paid by you've ever been paid by a foreign adversary. And the thing is, if you're getting paid out of a dark money group, you have no way of answering that truthfully. You can only say, I don't know. And, I mean, from the stuff this guy's saying, I wouldn't be surprised if that's this guy. We'll see, I guess.
or soon-to-be criminals are planning to do or doing. And I provide warning to potential victims so that they can keep themselves safe, and evidence to law enforcement so that those victims can find justice. One of the beneficiaries of my work, someone who I've done research to support, is Taylor Lorenz.
Okay.
I am one of the people who has been, and I'm not anymore, but has been responsible for gathering intelligence about threats to Taylor Lorenz's life or well-being.
Instigated, it's worth noting, by people that some of the people in the chorus sloposphere have said are her besties.
And for working with her former employers and their intelligence and security staff, working with law enforcement, and working with platforms and internet servicers to keep that person safe. And I have watched from the point of view of a threat intelligence analyst.
Okay. I mean, from the point of view of an intelligence analyst, what would you say about a dark money group that is paying creators and then contractually requires them not to disclose that fact to their audiences? Like, would you be comfortable putting it in a report to say that this is not buying influence with them?
Taylor Lorenz benefit from being protected by some of the best people in the field.
Okay, so what? Okay, I mean, we've got this guy's CV, but we're 2 minutes into it, and the question is, I mean, supposedly there's a truth she got dangerously wrong. I'm already kind of inclined towards skepticism, simply because of the first line in his description, which is quite dishonest. She never implied that people were getting paid by the DNC. She very specifically said who they were getting paid by. And he has confirmed this. He's confirmed the amount, and he's confirmed the payments. So...
And also benefiting from, as she should, working for a major journalistic institution in the past, benefiting from having the protection of a massive institution and the best money that lawyers can buy.
I see. Yes, well spotted. The best money that lawyers can buy.
And it is for that reason that I am beyond upset to see Taylor Lorenz promoting a false narrative that these creators, in a program that I applied for, full disclosure, and was accepted into.
Okay. See, that's already more disclosure than you're allowed to provide if you're actually in the program, it's worth noting.
To see her smearing these creators, these independent creators.
Okay, so she, first of all, does not say anything. First of all, this is just wild, because if anyone smeared anybody, it is some of these independent creators funded by dark money who have, among other things, falsely claimed that she's like friends with Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson, who have literally encouraged people to threaten her life and the lives of her family. I mean, and calling them independent creators is already just wild. Like, what the fuck does independent mean if you can be bankrolled like this and still be called independent? Like, literally, the whole point of the term independent, when you talk about independent media, is that you're not bankrolled by shit like this, and therefore your reporting is not going to be influenced by those sorts of incentive structures. That's the whole fucking point of the term. When you start using it to describe people just because they appear to be independent, they present themselves as independent, clearly, I mean, this dark money group values the perception of them as independent, but they're getting paid like up to $8,000 a month. Like, literally, I mean, for, I think, most people, I mean, $8,000 a month is going to basically cover, I mean, you're pretty much sorted at that point for, your basic expenses, unless something really untoward happens. So that is a huge thing, because you, at that point, if you're getting that kind of money from one source, then you got to worry about losing that money, especially if you got a contract that has all sorts of terms about how you're not allowed to disclose that, how you're, you have to run certain things by them before you talk about them in your work and shit like that. Like, that's not independence. That is the opposite of independence. That is dependence, actually.
And then mocking them for talking about how their work puts them in danger.
No, she didn't mock. That's mocking. Like, she's asking. She's literally asking, in what way this is supposedly dangerous.
I know, because the reports that I have written that have gone on to warn Taylor Lorenz about the dangers that she faces.
Yes, dangers that maybe you should tell, like, David Pakman and Brian Tyler Cohen about, because they were pretending that the people causing those dangers were her friends. I mean, if you're going to talk about smearing anybody, if you're talking about, like, getting the facts out there, like, surely that merits a mention?
I know that she knows what kind of dangers exist out there for people in the public. And to see Taylor Lorenz mock a black woman, women of color, trans women, and activists...
She didn't do that. She asked a fucking question. Like, if there's more to that thread in which she is mocking...
as if them putting their faces and their names out in the public, in a political space, or in a journalistic or news-related space,
or in a just online slop-related space. Let's be honest here.
As if they don't face any danger.
I mean, this guy knows perfectly well, based on where he's coming from, based on, like, the whole background he listed, how much more danger people who literally are independent are in. Like,
I'm just at a loss for words. Like, I don't know what to say. I am just angry. But
this is it.
not
This is the dangerous. This is the truth that she supposedly got dangerously wrong. She asked a question. What?
Now, one of the reasons that I wanted to join Chorus is because I have learned that hunting Nazis does not pay well.
Would they allow you to continue doing that?
In fact, it most often does not pay at all. It doesn't matter that my...
Yeah, and in fact, most of the people doing that work are also not out there on the internet telling the world about it. Because that shit can actually get you swatted. That shit can actually get you hurt. Yeah, I mean, this guy, I mean, first of all, he's clearly, I mean, there's a lot of self-promotion going on here. Serious self-promotion going on here, and it seems that he is, okay, so it doesn't sound like he's the security clearance guy. Although, I mean, we've got 3 more minutes in this thing. But, I mean, it sounds like he's coming to the defense of some people who had offered to bankroll him.
Organization, bunch of volunteers, has helped to do things like secure $3 million in lawsuits and damages against the neo-Nazi organization and its founder. It doesn't matter that we've secured felony convictions for neo-Nazis.
Like,
put a bunch of them behind bars. We've, through legal means, identified a bunch of those masked assholes who jump out of the back of U-Hauls so that they can be held accountable legally.
I mean, so what? Then, I mean, okay, I'm not saying so what about that. That's good. That's good that it's good that people are doing that. And most of them do not get this kind of recognition. They don't have big-ass YouTube channels, and they're very quiet about that kind of work. Because it puts a fucking target on your face. And they also, for the most part, don't work with cops, because the thing about cops is, even the FBI says, you don't share intelligence on the far right with local law enforcement in the U.S., because the local law enforcement is just so completely overrun that you might as well just be giving it to Nazis themselves. But the thing is, like, what he's saying here, it's like, okay, then you know the difference between doing something that actually is risky for you and does not pay well, and something that is not particularly risky for you and does pay well.
Because for years, Democratic fucking donors, or progressive donors, or liberal, or pro-democracy donors, these foundations, these fucking billionaires, have just been like, fuck it, you can all starve, all you actual pro-democracy activists.
Yes, okay, I'm with him on this. This is true. Like, there really is no money for this kind of shit.
All of you people in the research field, in the journalistic field, all of the content creators, you can all fucking starve.
Yes, but then people who are not doing this kind of work, who are not doing any kind of investigative work, who are not doing anything that you could really call journalism, who are at most doing commentary, which is what I'm doing right here. I mean, there's nothing wrong with commentary. I'm not knocking commentary, but it is a very different thing. I mean, I've done both things. I've done the thing where you actually go in and you dig through fucking all sorts of open source stuff in order to find out, all sorts of things and then publish what you find with, the sources cited and all that sort of thing in order to expose some shit. That is not the same thing as doing this. That is not the same thing as doing what David Pacman does, or fucking, Olivia Juliana, or any of the people who are on the take from the 1630 Fund. And I think they would probably acknowledge that. I feel like they would at least acknowledge that. And this guy should understand the difference between these things.
It wasn't until November of last year that some of these motherfuckers figured out, like, oh, maybe we should invest in the people who are actually fighting for democracy.
Well, like, maybe there's a reason that the ruling class did not particularly feel a need did not feel all that worried about all this shit. Maybe there's a reason they still don't seem to feel all that worried about this shit.
So
maybe it's because they're actually mostly kind of okay with it, or they figure, they can turn it to their favor at a later date.
That the tide was changing. I made a decision earlier this year with a bunch of guys, a bunch of dudes from White Dudes for Harris, which, yes, supported a Democrat,
A genocidal one, yes.
for president, who was running against a fucking racist fascist. For those fucking leftists who want to pretend we didn't have one or two options, like, that's it.
Well, no, I mean, within an electoral context, yeah, that's true. That's precisely why an electoral context is a fucking useless avenue for struggle in an electoral system like this one. There are places where I would actually modify that opinion, but the U.S., at least certainly at the federal level, is not that. You know, the struggle was simply not there, and choosing between somebody who was already committing genocide and was committed to continuing that, and somebody who wasn't currently committing genocide and was saying that he intended to also continue committing genocide, like, you can see the problem, I'm pretty sure, and why a lot of people, like, overwhelmingly, working class and poor people, did not feel particularly called upon to do anything, because there was absolutely, like, nobody was really showing any interest in their vote.
It was either a fascist or a Democrat. Anyway, I digress. We started a podcast so that we could get more men who look like me involved in the right side of politics.
I mean, that's an interesting way of putting it.
And that's called the Find Out Podcast. And objectively, our launch went really fucking well. In fact, we immediately jumped into the top 1%.
Hence why he was gonna get the $8,000. In fact, it seems like, judging from the way this is set up, I mean, it's hard to tell because, of course, Chorus has not released the documents. Like, they make all sorts of deflections and stuff, but they do not actually. They have access to all of the fucking paperwork. If they wanted to, they could release it. So,
Podcasts globally. And we've held on to that. We've continued to be objectively successful. But since launching this podcast in March, I have poured thousands of dollars into it to keep it viable, to pay for things like production, to build a website, to come up with the design.
Yeah. Okay, but what does this have to do with Taylor Lorenz? Like, literally, the only thing... He has not actually pointed out a single thing that she has gotten wrong. In fact, one of the first things he said was he was confirming something that the people, like the public-facing Chorus people, have actually been very hesitant to confirm.
The podcast logo. So when the opportunity arose to join Chorus to potentially get some financial support for this type of work,
despite the fact that you would not be allowed to disclose that to your viewers, who have every right to know who's bankrolling the people they're listening to,
when it opened up, I jumped on it. And the only reason that I turned it down is because my daughter was born right around the time that the first cohort began training, and knowing that I couldn't overcommit myself.
Well, yeah, because they have, like, daily messaging check-ins that they have to do.
I wanted to do the right thing, so I deferred my acceptance. So in the first 3 months of being a parent, this creator thing has kept money pretty tight. Now, I didn't sign any contract because I didn't join, but a fair number of my friends did. And
who? Like, seriously, it's ridiculous that this organization, that they on the one hand want to say, oh, there's nothing toward about any of this, and on the other hand they say that their, like, creators aren't allowed to say who they are. That's a ridiculous thing.
Been in the loop.
Na dann gute Nacht. Schlaf gut.
The whole time here. So I can assure you that Taylor Lorenz's framing about this being like a DNC plant thing...
That is not her framing. Like, if that was her framing, maybe... Okay, maybe actually point out a quote where she says that?
Is just absolute bullshit. I know that this was...
And, like, okay, and this tweet up here is completely irrelevant. And what she's actually talking about in this almost certainly is the fact that she, being immunocompromised, takes COVID seriously and is not down with denial. And so she wears masks. And if she's going to go into a space, they need to be taking precautions too, because she more than a lot of other people cannot afford to get this shit. I'm almost certain that's the context. It has absolutely nothing to do with this. The only reason he's putting this up here is, as a completely irrelevant smear.
See, plant thing is just absolute bullshit.
It's a thing. What's bullshit is it claiming she said that.
I know that this was very long.
In fact, being a public-facing creator and being public-facing about doing threat intelligence on fash groups, those things are actually kind of incompatible. If you're going to do the one, you really can't be very public about the other, because it puts your threat surface through the roof. Let me just say, he's got a fucking kid, and he's all over the internet saying, yeah, I'm the guy who works with a bunch of people to infiltrate neo-Nazis and get them sent to jail. Does he people? That's kind of not a wise thing to be putting out there if that's something that you're doing. If you do that, you got to be quiet about that shit.
This was inside baseball drama.
It isn't fucking drama. The fact that he frames this as drama, it's literally. Was it drama when it turned out that Tenet Media was getting a bunch of money from the Russian government to fund assholes like Tim Pool? Or was that a serious story about the undisclosed funding sources of supposedly independent creators?
Whatever you want to call it. But the only reason that I thought that I should make this video is, again...
because he still wants that $8,000 a month.
Because I saw Taylor Lorenz, dismissing or making fun of these creators.
Then maybe show her doing that rather than telling us that she did that. We haven't seen any of that.
Women of color, trans women, for describing what they do as dangerous.
This is wild what he's doing here. This is wild. Because he doesn't actually show her making fun of anyone. And what he's just doing here is, considering that actually Chorus is kind of in the pocket of the Democrats, whether they have a formal relationship with the DNC or not, it doesn't matter. They very clearly, they are very clearly doing messaging for the purpose of uplifting them and not criticizing them or putting them in a position where they might have to move even a fucking millimeter to the left in order to meet voters halfway. Even on things like genocide. Just to give an example, I decided I wanted to look more into these sort of the people who are getting paid out of the 1630 fund money. The ones, and which is not easy to find, the only ones mentioned that really are easily identifiable are the ones that Taylor Lorenz mentions. And so I figured one real test of the mettle of somebody who is in the public eye and is acting as an influencer or whatever in this extremely dark time is what, if anything, they've had to say about the fucking ongoing genocide. And so I decided to start looking, and I just started, I did all sorts of different searches in the few names that came up. For Gaza, for Israel, for Palestine, for Palestinian, for Hamas, whatever. And for the most part, the answer is they said nothing. Complete and utter fucking silence about this, one of the easily the worst fucking crimes in a generation. When we talk, that would be dangerous to do for people in that kind of a space, because it would actually make powerful enemies, as opposed to this sort of just slop, which is really just designed to keep powerful people comfortable with you.
When I am one of the people who, not for a while, but has been paid to protect her, Taylor Lorenz, from those same exact threats.
Well, yes, but the thing is, what we know is that she was actually getting those same exact threats. Like, I mean, that's not the same thing. That doesn't mean that every single creator is receiving those, I will say. Like, other than some, like, stalker assholes, which are from before I was even doing this, I have not actually received any kind of threats in relation to this. Probably because because I'm not very well known. If I were bigger, I'd probably get more assholes in here. But, you know, but people who do. And people who don't. And it's one thing, and to just sort of describe, you know, speaking into a microphone on YouTube by default as dangerous in a world where there are people who get into ambulances every day to drive from one end of a besieged enclave to another to try to save people's lives while getting fucking bombed from the air and shot at by drones that are paid for by U.S. tax money and supported by the entire political class in the United States. I mean, it is a bit obscene. Like, if you're going to say dangerous, it is appropriate to say why, in a particular case, it is dangerous if this is the kind of fucking work you're doing.
Horrifying.
Okay. Yeah, so the truth that she dangerously got wrong was, like, literally nothing, actually. Literally nothing. I mean, I thought there was going to be something to that, but no, there wasn't anything. Hey, Riveroon, how you doing? And let's see. Where can we go next? I have a debate between Poly Markets and the 1630 Fund here. I have, let's see. Anna Transphobian goes viral for alleged anti-Semitism as Jenk ellipses cringes live on TYT. Oh, we've got Destiny on the Dark Money stuff. I mean, and you know, if Destiny comes to your defense, I mean, you know you're on the right side of history, because that guy is just clean as a whistle.
A powerful liberal dark money group is secretly funding some of the biggest Democratic...
Okay.
influencers on the internet.
An initiative aimed at boosting Democrats online offers influencers up to $8,000 a month to push the party line. All they have to do is keep it secret and agree to restrictions on their content.
I mean, literally every word of that has been confirmed at this point.
Literally nothing in this statement is true.
Literally every, I mean, they have not, if it's not true, then they could just release the contracts and show that.
Finding people, offering them $8,000 a month, take it or leave it, you got a few days to sign, no red line, and go. But the whole article opened with a group chat of people talking about the contract that was at least revised a single time.
Well, yes, that's interesting, because it's almost like maybe more than one group of people received a contract, and not everybody may have gotten it on the same sort of terms. So you have some people saying that their experience was one way, and somebody else who said his experience was different. I wonder, is that possible that people could have different experiences, Steve?
These are contradictory statements in this article. They have to be
They're not contradictory. They're not contradictory. It's people describing different experiences.
This is a bad faith reading. This is not real. I can't.
I mean, if we're talking about my fucking Destiny, yes, it is a bad faith reading by definition.
this is like arguing to argue because you hate the liberal organization, you want to see it fail. Chorus will provide contractors with access to the Chorus newsroom.
Contractor agrees to utilize the Chorus newsroom to book engagements, disclose to Chorus newsroom personnel any engagements with government officials or others on topics related to Chorus's policy agenda, whatever that is. We still don't have actually a clear statement of what that actual agenda is from them. I mean, this is apparently a thing that exists, so it must be on paper someplace. And if it was all above board, they could just tell us what that agenda is, and then we could just know. On topics related to Chorus's policy agenda, the contractor arranges through other means, and 3, collaborate fully with Chorus related.
Which coordinates booking and engagement opportunities for creators with government officials, policy, and nonprofit experts, and others whose expertise and experiences are relevant to Chorus's progressive policy agenda.
Whatever that is. And if that's in the contract, nobody has actually shown us.
The contractor agrees to 1, utilize the Chorus newsroom to book engagements, and 2, disclose to the Chorus newsroom personnel any engagements with government.
Also, collaborate fully with Chorus regarding such separately arranged engagements. Well, what does collaborate fully mean? If they want you to take a particular approach to interviewing a person and you don't, is that not collaborating fully? Like, that is completely undefined. It is totally vague.
Government officials or others on topics related to Chorus's policy agendas. The contractor arranges through other means. And 3, collaborate fully with Chorus regarding all such separate. What is the? I don't know. How can you be stun locked on this? It seems like it's just saying that if you're doing, if you're arranging for interviews or any other kind of, I guess, like activation or engagement with anybody that's related to the stuff defined in the Chorus contract, that they would want to know about it.
Well, no, it is actually more than that. Maybe you just read the thing, Steve. I know that's not your strength.
Well, how many different ways can you read this?
Oh, well, I mean, there's the right way. Like, it isn't just the disclosure part. But although the thing is, I mean, the disclosure part can sometimes be itself problematic, because sometimes if you want to actually, if you've got somebody who's willing to go on and do an exclusive interview with you, they don't want somebody else necessarily to know in advance, because that might actually lead to them being in some way discouraged from doing the interview. So that's not great. Like, that literally, I mean, means that if, to the extent that you're doing anything that might engage source protection, you are literally just not able to protect your source from the non-transparently funded dark money group.
That the contractor can arrange through other means.
Destiny, my link. According to copies of the contract viewed by Wired, creators of the program must funnel all bookings with lawmakers and political leaders through Chorus.
Yes, and that's literally what it says.
Is the program must funnel all bookings? I mean, that's not what this sentence says.
Yes, it does. And, well, you have to read the next sentence. There was a next sentence there. And actually, the next sentence understated the case. Because the next sentence just said you have to loop them in on any independently arranged engagements.
They might say it in another place. Hold on.
Hello, I am a leftist that is known for being very critical of the Democratic Party, and I'm a member of a training program called Chorus that teaches political content creators.
Alley 202, okay. If anyone in chat wants to have a look at Alley 202, and who's apparently being funded by this dark money group, and who, like, actually does not seem to understand her own contract, judging from the way she talks about it, while at the same time, like, showing sections that absolutely directly confirm what the article on Wired said about it. I'd be quite interested if she's had anything to say about Gaza. Apparently that's underscore Alley, Alley, ALLIE underscore 202 underscore. On
how to
TikTok.
grow their platforms and make content creation into a full-time job. I have a slew of receipts to explain why a very fear-mongering article that came out yesterday about how this program works is just very, inaccurate. And I think I'm a good person to talk about this because I've seen a lot of people afraid that this program is just a way for Democrats to pay people off to blindly defend Democrats on the internet. And I
Well, one way you could actually address that, if you wanted to, is by showing what this policy agenda is that they say, because everything is down to a specific policy agenda, and nothing we've seen actually says what that is.
understand the fear because that would be diabolical if it was true. But this is a video of me like yelling at the DNC literally yesterday over their refusal to endorse an arms embargo against Israel. I am not one to hold back on criticizing the Democratic establishment.
Okay. Although that arms embargo was not an arms embargo. That resolution only affected 5% of the weapons the U.S. sends to Israel.
So I think I'm useful proof that that's not what this program's about. I do feel there's people in this cohort who shill a little bit too hard for the Democrats, but that's a them problem, not a this program.
Like, actually, the contract specifically says that her saying that is potentially puts her in breach.
Problem. Without further ado, let's get into the claims of the article versus my receipts. Okay, so the first main.
Okay, creators told Wired that the contract stipulated they'd be kicked out and essentially cut off financially if they even so much as acknowledged that they were part of the program. Okay, so does yours not have a non-disclosure?
Before we get too far into this, okay, I read some of the story yesterday. Okay, hold on, let me hold on. Should I read this article down? I don't know if I read the whole thing. I think I read like half of it.
Oh wow, I mean, that's an improvement for Destiny. Sometimes he doesn't read any of it and he still acts like he knows something about it.
I will read the whole article, okay?
Wow.
I'm a little bit irritated because I see that this has got really retarded. Okay.
No, wow, it wouldn't be Destiny without ableism.
We're reading this. We're gonna go over this from.
I mean, like, if I were Chorus, I would like try to get some sort of a fucking injunction against, because a guy who literally sucked off Nick Fuentes. Yeah, and just defends all the kinds of Nazis, who's been like the most ghoulish defender on in the world of streaming of the genocide in Gaza. Like, this guy is not the guy you want to come to your defense.
Start to finish, okay? Good luck. In a private group chat in June, okay, hold on. There's an article posted to Wired. This was written by close friend of the stream, Taylor Lorenz, okay? Published 2 days ago. It's caused a bit of an uproar in the liberal media world. There have been retractions to this article.
No, there have not been retractions. There's literally not been one. What happened was, and if you actually look at the article, you'll see there are updates. There are updates because various people who did not respond with comment before it was published since responded, so it includes their responses. There's not been a retraction yet. Like, this you said like a month ago. And since then, there's still been no retraction.
But this is the original article as is, okay? In a private group chat in June, dozens of Democratic political influencers discussed whether to take advantage of an enticing opportunity. They were being offered 8,000 big ones, dollars, USD.
I mean, he is really showing his ass here. Because I think anyone here knows, like, what kind of money that is for most people. Like, yeah, his rich ass can turn down can, like, sneeze at $8,000 a month. Like, for most people, that would be fucking life-changing money. Especially if you're trying to do, like, some sort of creative shit that has a long run-up before you can actually successfully monetize it. I mean, that is huge. And he's acting like that's nothing?
To take part in a secretive program aimed at bolstering democratic messaging on the internet. I wonder if I should take notes on this. I don't care about it. Okay. But the contract sent to... Actually, you know what? No. Why not? Good. I have my live notes thing for a reason. $8,000 a month, secretive program. But the contract sent to them from Chorus, the nonprofit arm of a liberal influencer marketing platform, came with some strings. Among other issues... Wait, what's my command for ban links? I don't know why people link me right in the middle of reading stuff. I forgot the command. No new links. Jesus. Okay. The contract arm sent to them from Chorus, the nonprofit arm of a liberal influencer marketing platform, came with some strings. Among other issues, it mandated extensive secrecy about disclosing their payments and had restrictions on what sort of local content the creators could produce.
Yeah.
So it mandated...
Yeah, I mean, and the video that he was looking at confirms all of that.
Disclosing payments, and it restricted political content from influencers. In their group chat, influencers debated the details. Should we send a joint email with all our email addresses, or are we just going to send things separately and hope they change everything for everyone? Lorenzo, a non-binary creator in Columbus, Ohio, with over 884,000 TikTok followers, asked the group. You know what? We're gonna fucking Hail Mary this. Hold on. Yeah, why not? Real quick. Why not? Okay.
Hail Mary
Friend of
this?
the stream, Taylor, to see if she wants to. I want to chat about this just in case, because it would be epic. Some joke about collective bargaining. Any Newsies fans here? Eliza Orland's a public defender and reality TV star known for her appearances on Survivor. Posted in the group, "We're a union just by saying so." The influencers in the chat collectively had at least 13 million followers across social platforms. They represented some of the most well-known voices online, posting in support of Democrats, and they're key to wherever the party moves next. But ultimately, the group didn't make much progress.
Okay, so remember he was saying that it was contradictory that some people were discussing this amongst themselves, and then as somebody else had actually tried to talk about it with his lawyer and was not given any time to do it. Like leaving aside that there's literally no contradiction there because it's different people saying different things happened. They're literally talking about whether they can make any progress, and actually if you read what they say to each other, they specifically say they're not going to get what they want out of this, it's take it or leave it.
Through this revised force contract. Like, you win some, you lose some. A reproductive justice influencer named Perry, who posted the handle at Women in America, responded later in the thread. I also think there's at least 4 other things that should change, but the vibe I got from her email was that there would be minimal, if any, changes. Lorenzo, Orleans, and Perry did not reply to requests for...
Yeah, minimal, if any. In other words, take it or leave it.
Comment. Let's see. Group chat of influencers going through a redlining. I don't feel strongly about pushing, to be honest. Aaron Parnas, a Gen Z news influencer.
Yeah, I looked him up. And on Gaza, fuck all. Like, at least nothing that can be seen from titles of his videos on his YouTube channels. And honestly, I think that a massive genocide being committed by the United States merits a dedicated video if you're a political influencer. I think that's not much to ask. But there you go.
Who has been called the Gen Z Walter Cronkite has been lauded in legacy media outlets posted to the chat. They aren't going to modify it anymore. Seems like a take it or leave it.
Okay, again, no contradiction with somebody else saying that they were told take it or leave it.
Parnas declined to comment. I believe we are in stage 5 acceptance. Perry responded. Creators
like comparing it to the grieving process. In other words, they were being, very clearly overpowered here. Which is not surprising because it's a dark money group with fuck knows how much funding, and fuck knows where it comes from.
For years, Democrats have...
Gonna skip ahead a little bit here.
Leaders. If I want to work with another politician, I have to fully collaborate with them. Said one...
Well, yeah, that is the literal language, and it is not defined.
Creator who was offered the contract but ultimately declined to take it and asked not to be named. If I get Zoran and he wants to do an interview with me, I don't want to give that to them. Oh, this claim.
And that claim, which was literally confirmed in the video that he later looks at that's supposedly debunking this.
That no one watches, rather than just treating us like another form of media. The influencers offered the funding, were given just days to sign the contract, which was essentially presented on a take-it-or-leave-it basis.
And she has a quote that backs that up.
At least one cohort was specifically told they could not have their lawyers redline it.
Yeah, at least one. Again, no contradiction between the fact that other people didn't say that happened.
In the group chat formed to discuss contract negotiations, some creators discussed a clause prohibiting the disparagement of other creators. Not being able to criticize anyone else affiliated with Chorus felt restrictive to some.
Yeah, which is putting it mildly.
According to text messages posted on the chat, at least one cohort was specifically told they couldn't have the voice redline, being able to criticize anyone else affiliated with Chorus felt restrictive to some. Okay. Eventually, the creators in the group chat agreed to drop the issues they had. I don't think Chorus is out to screw us. Orleans, a creator who was offered $8,000 per month, said in the group chat, some influencers for Chorus Creator Incubator Program were offered as little as $250 per month, according to one creator who declined to accept the deal, while others were offered...
I would imagine if you're being offered $8,000 a month, you would not feel that they were out to screw you.
Amplifier cohort.
But some people were getting lit as little as $250. But I'm skipping ahead because we've kind of been through all this shit.
Our campaigns, but are literally coordinated regularly. It's not really alternative media anymore. You're rebranding or recreating mainstream media in another platform. But I guess it works on retards, including people in my chat.
Oh wow, fuck off.
I think that alternative just means on YouTube or something. That's not really what alternative media means. Retarded. That's like saying you have...
Yeah, this is precisely what a lot of people seem to think, like, independent or decentralized means. Like, people use those terms to describe organizational structures that are non-transparent, where, it's not clear who belongs to the organization or how any of it is structured or anything like that. And then they'll say, oh, well, this person's independent. It's like, well, no, they're just not disclosing their organizational affiliation.
Like an indie
it's not
film,
the same thing.
because that's backed by like 25 billionaires and has like it's like a $1 billion production indie film just because it didn't go through like a major studio. Like, well, it is indie, it is independent, bro. Or you have like an 18-year-old who's like quote unquote MILF because she got pregnant at 16 and has a 2-year-old kid. It's like, oh, she's actually MILF. So you're missing the whole point of the meaning of these words, of these categories. There's no reason for it. It's at that point, alternative media is basically mainstream media. It's literally getting all these talking points right from the mainstream political parties and all the and they're coordinating directly with the coordinating directly with the White House is stupid. Yeah. A lot of talk about restrictions from the contract that seem to be bad.
I mean, from the point of view of honesty to your audience, I would say they more than seem to be bad, but since Steve the Destiny has never cared much about honesty to his audience, and his audience, to be honest, don't seem to really warrant it. I mean, they keep coming back. He's completely full of shit. He's made fools of them so many fucking times, and they're still here. They're still, they're still fucking bankrolling him. They're still making donations and supporting his, and watching his fucking channel. So, I mean, maybe that's just they have set their price, and their prices an asshole who lies to them and really doesn't seem to give a fuck about anything. Except, like, getting paid and being a sex pest.
Creators not being allowed to acknowledge the existence of the program, their part in the program, or receiving payments from it.
That's not seems to be bad. That is, like, basic journalistic ethics. That you have to disclose these sorts of things because it's a potential conflict of interest. If it affects the way that people might assess your opinion on a thing. If you know that that somebody, like, if you know something is a paid advertisement and it says a product is great, you will assign that a certain value. If it is supposedly an objective, independent, scientific assessment of the product, and it says the product is great, as long as you have a reason to believe that is in fact what it is, that has an entirely different amount of weight. This is such fucking basic shit. Like, I don't think I need to explain this to anyone, but, like, so many dickheads like Destiny act like this is some really complicated thing. Like, they literally don't seem to understand the difference between a paid fucking ad and a review.
Being prohibited from organizing independently their own lawmaker engagements. Let's see. The contract used by Wired prohibits standard partnership disclosures, declaring that creators will not publicize their relationship with Chorus or tell their members or tell others that they're members of the program without Chorus's prior ratings. So express consent. That's disclosing the identity of any funder and give Chorus the ability to force creators to remove or correct content based solely on the organization's direction if that content was made at a Chorus organized event. Okay. Giving Chorus the ability to remove or correct content made by creators at any Chorus organized event. Let's see.
Like, what is it also? I mean, there's another one. There's another bit of wiggle room, and the question is, like, contracts will often have a section called definitions, and it defines things like Chorus organized event. So you can know, like, for example, if you're using if you're producing your show in facilities paid for by Chorus, with equipment potentially provided by Chorus or paid for by Chorus, and you're getting, publicity that is bankrolled in part by Chorus and stuff like that, does that make it a Chorus organized event? The thing is, I mean, lawyers get paid a lot of money to argue these things out in court when there isn't a clear definition. Because you could take the literal meaning, and if you convince a court that that's a Chorus organized event, then what you're saying is that basically there is complete creative and message control for this organization with its shady financing structure.
The article lists many names of influencers who are working with or accepted a contract.
I wouldn't say many. I have to say, because I was trying to actually find some examples of people who are taking this money to look at their content and comment on it and analyze it and stuff. And, I mean, it's a handful.
With Chorus. I understand what you're saying, but don't people consider Piers Morgan independent media?
No, I mean, they shouldn't. That guy I mean, what the word independent means, independent of guys like him.
The right-wing independent media still was collaborating a lot with the White House. I think Piers Morgan can be considered independent media, but
Well, I mean, of course, yes, because you have shitty takes.
I don't think Piers Morgan it gets his talking points or is like officially coordinating with any like political party, or is like broadcasting on a mainstream like media network generally. Like I think that's probably a fair. I think that's like a fair thing to.
I mean, no, that really isn't. That's like part of it. I would say, I mean, any of those things, if they're true, would definitely count against somebody being independent, but there's way more than that. Because the question is, like, who's funding Piers Morgan? Is it just his viewers? Or is there other money in there? Is he getting ad money? Are there, like, some kind of big donors in the background who are covering a significant percentage of his expenses and, like, his cost of living and shit?
Say. You could even probably consider Tucker Carlson. Now, maybe you could consider him independent media.
I wouldn't, because again, the question is who funds him?
Alternative media.
Alternative. I mean, that's the thing about alternative. It's fucking meaningless.
Blurring lines a little bit, but I think Tucker probably could be considered now as well, yeah. Let's see. Leaked Zoom calls. Okay. A leaked Zoom call with Graham Wilson. Members won't have to worry about FEC disclosures or public disclaimers. I can put this as neutral, I guess.
Wait.
Creator.
I mean, it's really confusing because the actual text... Let me see, what is... I actually have this up. Let me see, where do I have it? Yeah. Okay. Okay, here's what he actually says. There are some great advantages to housing this program in a non-profit. Graham Wilson, a lawyer working with Cora, said to creators on a Zoom call reviewed by Wired. It gives us the ability to raise money from donors. Also, with this structure, it avoids a lot of the public disclosure or public disclaimers, you know, paid for by blah, 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 that you see on political ads. We don't need to deal with any of that. Your names aren't showing up on, like, reports filed with the FEC. And, yeah, that's not good, actually. That stuff should be disclosed.
Have an obligation to have messaging check-ins and to attend to newsroom events.
He's calling that neutral. Interesting. Because he has like claims: good, neutral, bad. Well, I mean, such depth his analysis. Bad. Lots of dark money group mentions in relation to the 1630 fund because it's a dark money group. All that means is it is a group that is allowed to buy politicians without having to disclose its funding sources. That's all that means. The reason that sounds bad is because the thing it describes is bad. It shouldn't exist.
It's per month. Is this neutral? I feel like this is almost bad. I feel like it's close to leaning there, but it's with Dubois.
Almost bad. Well, I mean, this is, wow, the depth of this analysis, yeah, it's just a master of his craft.
Aspect is
or crap.
Let's see. We'll just put this up here. Quote from Elizabeth Dubois saying the legal aspect of the organization is murky.
Well, actually, that's not what she's saying here. She's saying we're seeing influencers being pulled into these dark campaigns or shadow campaigns where the legal aspect is murky at best. She's speaking more generally. Now, she probably also means that in relation to this completely non-transparent, utterly opaque fucking organizational structure. I mean, it seems like it. But, yeah.
I'm guessing it's done with this message over Aaron trying to sweep for Lorenz. Maybe. We'll see what other creators have said about this or whatever. For final clarification, here's some other examples of alternative media LARPers. Benny Johnson. Yes, a lot of conservatives are really good at this.
Oh, yeah, motherfucker, you're one of them.
Benny Johnson LARPs is alternative media. He's not. That guy is, like, absolutely a 100% shill for the Conservative Party. Tim Pool would be, as much as I hate him, probably considered independent or alternative.
No, he fucking isn't. But, I mean, okay. It's funny that he brings up Tim Pool, because I was pointing out that just not too long ago on this very stream that we already had this sort of dark money moment on, like, far-right influencers, specifically with Tim Pool and Tenet Media. And if you want to say that there's nothing untoward about a dark money group paying undisclosed money to a bunch of political influencers in one case, then you really can't go and say that it's, absolutely discrediting in another.
Media, he's just on that anti-establishment kick. I don't know where their Sky group is.
Oh, no, he is not on an anti-establishment. Like, what, fucking billionaires aren't the establishment now?
Actually, no. I don't know if I would consider Temple anymore. When you're actually doing campaigning or stump speeching for candidates, I feel like you're blurring the line past anything that can be understood.
He's blurred the line. The line is not blurred. He's just on the other fucking side of it.
And Tim Pool did campaign for Trump. He did host events, or at least one, right, where he was on stage speaking about electing him.
And he took money from Tenet Media.
If you exclude Epstein, what other issues does he disagree with Trump on? It's not about if you agree or disagree with him. Like right now,
I mean, no, it is not about that, but it is indicative. Because if you're going to say somebody's independent of somebody, you would expect, one way you would see that is that occasionally they will not say the same thing as the person they're supposedly independent of would want them to say. They may be critical of them or something like that.
Basically sent for the Democratic Party in whole, like on almost every issue, right? But I'm considered independent media. I have no official, obviously, affiliation with anybody now.
Oh, no official affiliation. What does that mean?
In the Democratic Party thing. But if I started working very closely with a lot of those lawmakers or with a lot of their messaging or whatever, and was going back and forth like that, then I think you start to blur the lines and maybe wouldn't consider it as much. What's the difference between independent versus alternative media? It's like suppressor and stuff.
Yeah, it's like meaningless.
Answer for a gun. It's basically the same thing. It's just, okay, the glass from Murray. We've got a quote from Don Hyder claiming if contract says you can't disclose money, it is unethical.
And yeah, I mean, he's specifically talking about money in the context of someone making journalistic or editorial content because, again, like it is basic journalistic ethics that you have to disclose potential conflicts of interest. You have to disclose if somebody's paying you.
One creator claimed they were denied the ability to redline the contract. I don't think those two terms should be synonymous. Okay. This is something I don't understand. In the article, there is an anonymous creator who claims he was unable, or he was specifically told his lawyer could not redline a contract.
Okay, it sounds like you're understanding it just fine.
The article opens with a bunch of
other creators
speaking about redlining.
No, they're not speaking about redlining. They're literally not speaking about redlining. Like, why not use the quote and actually say what they were saying? Because actually what they were talking about was whether there was any chance they would be allowed to redline it. And a bunch of them apparently came down on the side of, yeah, there's no way they're going to budge.
Their contracts.
No, they don't speak about redlining. Well, they speak about it in terms of saying they are considering trying to push for the right to do it.
Why was one allowed? Or why were some allowed?
They weren't. The point, I mean, like, they fucking read the quotes. You read it aloud. And they said, no, they weren't allowed, actually.
And others weren't. Wasn't the start of the article that the contract was take it or leave it?
Yeah, I mean, in fact, that is what these other creators were saying. In fact. Like, seriously.
Kind of. They mix in some language here to obscure it a bit, but it clearly wasn't.
Well, I mean, Aaron Parnas seems to be saying he thinks it's a take it or leave it. So does Lorenzo Orlin. So does this, what is it? Perry. Says, I also think there's at least 4 other things that should change. Laughing emoji, but the vibe I got from their email is that there would be minimal, if any, changes. And she also said, I believe we're in stage 5 acceptance. Equating their attempt to negotiate with the Dark Money Group with the grieving process. Like, so, yeah, they're all talking about the fact that they would like to redline it. They have changes they would like to make, and they're not being given the opportunity.
This guy said it seems like the contract was take it or leave it. However, this statement here, reading through this revised chorus contract... Like,
yeah, they're saying the revised contract is a take it or leave it.
Like, you win some, you lose some. This is in response to them redlining the initial version.
Yeah, exactly. So there was a revised contract. In fact, they don't actually say, like, Taylor Lorenz in the article does not say anything about the process that led to this contract. And of course, there's one group of people who could immediately eliminate all of the doubt by just coming clean and showing the correspondence and the paperwork, and that's Chorus.
Sending it back to chorus and then getting back a revised contract. So clearly, they were allowed to redline it.
No, they were allowed to. They weren't allowed to redline the revised one. You dickhead. That's the point. I mean, and it's not clear when they say revised. It doesn't say how many changes are made, and that, I mean, that would be something. If there was any elaboration in any of the source material Taylor Lorenz has, that would be something for her to weigh in on, or for these creators who are involved in this to come clean about. You know, and
they were doing some redlining, so I don't know why later on it says one creator was told he couldn't.
Well, because there's a revised contract, sometimes that happens. You'll say, hey, there are a couple of things in this initial contract that you sent me that need changing, that I don't like, and they say, okay, here, we'll think about that and we'll send you a revised version. And then the revised version is take it or leave it. That is a thing that happens quite a lot, actually.
What is redlining? So typically there's like standard contracts, like boilerplate contracts, where somebody will shoot out... Stop. Hold on. No, I'm not doing this anymore, okay? Like, for a long time, I assumed that maybe my personal standards for writing a research were just absurdly high, and it's...
No. You know, like, I don't know how you could possibly have gotten that idea. Because they're actually extremely low.
Actually, totally common practice that publications or journalists or whatever are allowed to write the articles that are unclear or misleading, and I should just accept that as a standard.
Oh, misleading how? You haven't shown a single thing that was misleading.
I don't agree with that. If I could write something decently well with no training, then these people should be able to write at my level or better.
We haven't seen any evidence of his level, at least in terms of writing. In terms of actually discussing things, his level ain't too high.
I don't know why we're making excuses. Destiny, this is not clear in the article, I agree, but I think the idea is that those might have been different cohort/tiers.
Well, it's very clear in the article that there is a revised contract, which means there was an original contract. And they're talking about the revised contract.
Should be no guessing here. Okay? If you this statement, if you know anything about I'm not trying to attack you. I'm sorry. Okay? But if you
sounded like you were.
Know anything about working with people and signing contracts, especially in the influencer space where you have a lot of young people, a lot of people who don't know as much about contracts or aren't very savvy, and somebody is saying that at least one cohort was specifically told they could not have their lawyers redline a contract, that sounds very predatory.
I mean, it is extremely predatory.
Influencers were offered funding that was given, they were given just days to sign, and it was given as a take it or leave it thing, where your lawyer is not allowed to redline it. I don't know why they say lawyers redline it too.
Well, probably because that's who does redlining of contracts. That's kind of part of that's sort of one of the things lawyers do is redline contracts.
The insinuation there is that your lawyer's not even allowed to look at it, although I'm reading a bit into it there, but this is a very, very, very strong statement saying that, like, they're finding people, offering them $8,000 a month, taking...
Well, I mean, there's an easy way to refute that statement, which, I mean, it's worth noting, unlike anything that Destiny is saying, I mean, a lot of people signed off on this. A lot of people looked at the source material and said this is accurate. And literally the people best placed to refute all of this have not actually done that. So, I mean, at this point, if somebody who on the inside can show that that's not true, because they would be the ones who could prove it, it's about time they came forward or just forever shut the fuck up.
or leave it. You got a few days to sign, no redlining, go. But the whole article opened with a group chat of people talking about the contract that was at least revised a single time.
Yeah, I mean, and unless you're just trying to find a way to read it that doesn't make sense, Steve, the way that reads is that they had an original draft, and then there was a revised draft, and the revised draft was take it or leave it.
These are contradictory statements in this article.
They're not contradictory statements. Part of the reason that you don't allow collective bargaining is so that you can treat each individual employee or contractor or whatever however you want based on what you think that they will put up with. So it is completely consistent with the approach. Like, they were joking about collective bargaining, but but part of the reason is that you do it is to cut down on that, because otherwise the people who are more likely to cave in a negotiation are going to be put under the most pressure, and they're going to get the shittiest deal. And the people who hold out more and have more bargaining power are going to get a better deal. All because the people who are holding the purse strings know that they can manipulate people in different ways. Like, there's no contradiction here.
Resolve. Anything else you think is wrong? Those are contradictory statements.
No, they're not. They're literally not. One thing happened to one person. She didn't say it would be contradictory statements if she said all of them. She said at least one. She's aware of one. She has documentation of that happening in one case. And obviously she has to be cagey about that. Because if all she's got is the one, if she even so much as quotes from the email that they showed her, that person is cooked. That person has potentially breached an NDA. They might get sued. They're fucked.
If you've got to stretch your... I can play with you. We can play pretend if you want. If you want to role play, let's figure out what it could mean.
Well, yes, that's called reading Destiny.
You could do that, but I'm not reading the article as...
Yeah, I can tell. You're really not.
A young adult, fantasy novel, whatever, medieval bullshit. This is supposed to be an informative article, so...
Yes, and you have to actually... Reading involves interpreting. It involves comprehension. Jesus. I have to... it's this is the standard of media analysis. And this is where so many problems come from. Because there really is no really good work being done to help popularize the sort of mental habits you need when you look at something like this. Because you do have to look at something like this critically. You should always look at products of the propaganda system critically, and Wired is part of the propaganda system. That doesn't mean it doesn't have useful and accurate things also, but it is part of that system. And yes, so you do have to look at it critically. And if there are contradictions, real contradictions, two things that cannot both have happened, then that is a thing that is worth noting. But this is not what he's doing. He's specifically acting like it's outlandish, to take anything but the most uncharitable bad faith reading of this.
I don't know why you would make an excuse here for the obvious contradiction. That's insane to me. Sorry.
There isn't a contradiction, though.
Campaign fund limit evasion. I think the point was that the content creators could be considered paid positive media that would traditionally be put under the campaign umbrella under other circumstances.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Sorry, this is retarded. Don't cease with the vagueness. Just a different read. You are right and you are wrong. Okay? I understand what you're saying. Okay? The point is that the content creators could be considered paid positive media. That is correct. You can make contributions to a campaign in kind that don't necessarily quantify out to, or that will be quantified in dollars, but aren't charged in dollars. So, for instance, let's say...
Okay, what he's saying here, I mean, let nobody say I've ever been unfair to this prick. What he's saying here is quite accurate. I mean, paid positive media can constitute an in-kind campaign contribution. It is, in fact, a very popular one. And... stuff like this is a way of, very explicitly, I mean, you have from this slide from the Zoom call, this lawyer for Chorus saying, yeah, we want to have paid positive media, but we don't want to have to disclose it because that's a real bummer to have to admit that you're paying people to pretend to like your politicians.
I traditionally charge somebody $10,000 to have a 4-hour media appearance on my stream. Let's say that I have that charge generally, okay? Let's just pretend that is, okay? Let's say that there's a candidate running for local office, and let's say that he wants to come and chat on my stream, you know, is kind of like, and it's not an open up, but he wants to, and I say, oh yeah, sure, come on. There's like a 4-hour segment I only do. I'll do it for free for you, buddy. Not only will I do it for free for you, but like the next day also, I'll kind of like, you know, I'll hype up your campaign and chat.
Yeah, I mean, totally correct. And this is, the thing is, I mean, it's wild how he will actually get this more or less right, and then at the same time act like he doesn't see what the problem here is. Because the problem is really clear. I mean, it's the same thing, like, if I mean, you see this on YouTube all the time. There will be something that says, contains paid ad. You know, and that's a 40-minute video, and somebody spends 1 minute talking about, like, whatever everyone's favorite Israeli-owned VPN company is, or something like that. And that's just 1 minute, but it's all immediately disclosed, and it is done in a way that is very clear that this is a paid promotion that is put in the middle of a video that is otherwise not a paid promotion. That's the point. People are supposed to be able to tell the difference.
That's illegal. My understanding is that that would be considered an in-kind campaign contribution. I believe FEC limits are $4,500 or $5,500. Yeah, the value of that free appearance would exceed the market value of what I'd normally sell that spot for, and I would be endorsing a candidate explicitly. That would be not okay. However, it sounds like when they were reading, when they were quoting from what I just said is not okay, but it sounds like what they were quoting from in the thing here, creators in the program are not allowed to use any funds, so that is an obvious one, or resources that they receive as part of the program to make content that supports or opposes any political candidate or campaign without express authorization from Chorus in advance and in writing.
Okay. So, okay, you see how that actually massively restricts what political influencers can say. Because if it's content that potentially is favorable or unfavorable about a politician, and that has to be subject to prior authorization from this pile of dark money, then that means that, like, literally, potentially everything that you say is subject to their influence. I mean, that is, because again, yes, there is, like, statutory language in election law dealing with this sort of thing, and, like, lots of court opinions interpreting it, but this is a contract, and you don't necessarily interpret a contract in line with statutory language. And the thing about that is, that means that, I mean, if, like, Chorus wanted to play hardball, if they really wanted to fuck with somebody, they could go and say, okay, yes, you pointed out that there's a genocide in Gaza. That technically is, by acknowledging that, you are opposing every single political candidate who has in any way supported that genocide, and that's like nearly all of them at the federal level, most of them at every other level. And we don't allow that, even though you didn't name any candidate. Like, or they could take it in the very narrow way that it is done in, like, elections law, where you have to actually say, vote for this person, vote against this person, vote, you know, shit like that. Like, there is room for fucking interpretation, and it is extremely vague. But it gives them a hell of a lot of control, and they're the ones with the money.
For the contract. I don't know what the original clause is, but it sounds like a clause that's basically trying to cover their ass on that. I don't mean cover their ass in a bad way, like as in being responsible, saying like, hey, listen, we're going to pay you this money or whatever, we're going to give you $8,000 a month for whatever this thing. You can't take that $8,000 a month and use it to put on events for candidates. One, it could us, because now it looks like we're just funneling money through a creator to basically...
But they don't say that. They're literally not saying that. They're saying you definitely can do those things, but you have to get their approval in advance. Which is exactly what you would be doing if you were engaging an ad agency, for example. If you were a campaign and you were engaging an ad agency, well, yeah, I mean, and they were putting together content, advertorial style content and shit like that, then you would have a right of approval to make sure that it is actually supporting what you want it to support, i.e. your candidate.
support a candidate, and 2, now you're supporting a candidate directly. That's on your time. You need to make your own FEC statements, your campaign contribution statements, or whatever, and you have to deal with that personally. You can't just funnel our money to another candidate.
Well, I mean, except here's the problem. The way this is written, they're not allowed to use any funds or resources they receive as part of the program. Like, how the hell do you tell that? Like, for a lot of people, I mean, most people aren't fucking David Pac-Man. $8,000 a month is going to be everything that they're getting, probably, in a lot of cases. So, money is fungible. Money commingles. Like, so, who's to say which resources you used? If you, on your stream, say, you know, I think Andrew Cuomo's a piece of shit, actually. I mean, look at him. Like, if you say that, who's to say which funds you used in order to say that Andrew Cuomo is a piece of shit?
That would be disallowed for at least those 2 reasons.
Well, it could also be disallowed. I mean, it's amazing how much more charity he's giving to this fucking dark money group than he's willing to give to this article about the dark money group. Because, yeah, you could read it very charitably and say, yeah, all they're trying to do is protect themselves under FEC disclosures and stuff like that, since they're a 50C4. But, I mean, the thing is that without express authorization in advance and in writing from Chorus, what that means is there will be times when they want you to do that. So, I mean, another reading that is entirely consistent with this language as it's being presented to us, and if Chorus wants to contradict this, they could just share the fucking language and make an end of it. Also means that a level of just complete message control.
So this sounds like this is covering that aspect of the legality, but they're presented in different parts of the article as though they're not considering one another, right? So names 2 creators who, or it names 2 creators who defended Chorus through a prior relating to utilizing people's images without merit.
I love how drama has been the catch-all word for things that are actually kind of scandalous. Well, like what he's trying here, this prior drama, is that Chorus put a bunch of creators, tried to fundraise and promote itself by using images of creators that had nothing to do with them, without actually seeking their consent, creating the impression, and they had to know this because they're the ones who decided that they will not disclose who is a Chorus creator. Which is, like, just not a normal thing to do if you're, you know, some sort of creator incubator. Because that's, again, your creators are your calling card. But putting in images of people who you don't have a relationship with, it is a way of creating the impression that you do have a relationship with them. I mean, I don't think I'm saying anything remarkable here.
I'm sorry, without permission. For fundraising. Okay, these are the claims. Let's see. Following the initial outreach, many creators expressed concern about some stipulations. 100 copies of the contract their creators respond on all bookings with lawmakers and political leaders. Okay, I think I have this under. Oh, what are this contradiction? Oh, this also doesn't make sense. I don't understand what this means. This paragraph seems contradictory.
Okay, I mean, it isn't, but go ahead, go off.
Following the initial outreach, many creators expressed concern about some stipulations.
Okay, no contradiction so far.
According to copies of the contract viewed by Wired, creators in the program must funnel all bookings with lawmakers and political leaders through Chorus.
Yes, I mean, and that has been explicitly confirmed that Allie202 showed her a copy of the contract, and it specifically says that it has to go through the Chorus newsroom. But if they do get an opportunity that doesn't come through there, which is possible because some politician, for example, might say, you know, hey, David Pac-Man, I inexplicably like your stuff, and I would like to do an interview with you because it will be very natural and not stiff and unbelievable at all. Or something like that. And so what they're saying is, if that opportunity arises, if you end up in contact with somebody from outside the newsroom, because you live in the world and not inside of like a fucking bubble that is nothing but the Chorus newsroom, then you also have to give them control over that.
That makes it sound like what the contract is saying is that you cannot independently organize these things. Okay, gotcha. But then the next sentence is, creators also have to loop Chorus in on any independently organized engagements with government officials or political leaders.
Yeah, and I mean, again, this is also confirmed by the video he was showing earlier. Because the point is, obviously, sometimes an opportunity comes to you spontaneously on its own.
But this sentence right here makes it sound like this action here is banned.
No, it isn't. Because both of these statements are in the contract. So, yeah.
Reading this sentence says that you have to funnel all bookings with lawmakers and political leaders through Chorus. And this is saying bookings that you do on your own, you have to inform us about government officials or political leaders.
It turns out it's more than inform us. You have to fully collaborate is the language that was in that contract that we saw. And fully collaborate is vague language, and I mean, intentionally so, I would assume, because that could mean anything from scheduling or something like that to allowing them a right to veto what questions you ask the person. But I just noticed the time. It is time to wrap up for this week. Thank you to everyone who joined in. I hope you enjoyed the stream. And if you enjoyed the stream, please consider supporting me on Patreon. And if you're new here and you would like to stay in touch in between streams, I have got a Discord server link for you. Hang on, I will have a Discord server link for you. Invite to channel. Copy. And there's my water bottle falling on the floor. Neat. And with that, I will see you this coming Friday at 11.